These companies don't care about you or your kids or your grandkids. They have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck. Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators.
It was a peaceful arrest, first and foremost. The officer asked the suspect if he had been in New York City recently. He became visibly nervous, kind of shaking. The suspect didn't have to say a lot after that question.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. So, as we know, Luigi Mangione has been charged with the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. And some things that we have learned about him have surprised me, other things have not. Okay? The fact that this was probably likely heading towards a case of domestic terrorism, that does not surprise me. I actually talked about this in a previous video, and I felt like just based on the circumstances surrounding this shooting, that this was probably someone who wasn't necessarily disgruntled with United Healthcare specifically and Brian Thompson, the CEO specifically, although he certainly could have been disgruntled with United Healthcare. That kind of remains to be seen. There obviously was some stuff that he put out on Facebook showing an x-ray of a spine. He had a previous roommate who was interviewed and said that Mangione absolutely did have back trouble. I made a comment about that it was an anti-capitalist sort of attack. You know, I had one guy actually say, oh, this guy thinks that healthcare is based in capitalism. Of course it is. Healthcare, insurance, they all make a profit, okay? And if anyone or any group of people known as a business are set up to make a profit margin, then it is based in capitalism. Capitalism is basically the American economy. Okay, what I'm going to look at today, what we're going to look at is a couple of the books that this young man read. Okay, now I would be remiss if I didn't say right out of the gate, this has similarities with the case of Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. This was a very intelligent young man with potentially a very bright future. Valedictorian at his school, at a prestigious school back in 2016. Master's degree in computer science. This kid seemed by all accounts to be very well adjusted, very popular, very educated, had the whole world at his fingertips, that he could have done anything that he wanted to, much like Ted Kaczynski. Kaczynski had an IQ of 167. To put that into perspective, 140 is considered genius. It does not surprise that this young man, one of his favorite books was Industrial Society and Its Future, also known as the Unabomber Manifesto. Now, we're going to read a little bit about what his review on this book was. Okay, so Mangione read this book online and left a personal review of it. The review that he leaves of this book is not only chilling, but it tells a lot about this person's mindset, the disdain that he was beginning to develop for not just America, but American capitalism. Mangione really resonated with the Unabomber's manifesto. And these are in quotes. It's easy to quickly and thoughtless write this off as the manifesto of a lunatic in order to avoid facing some of the uncomfortable problems it identifies. But it's simply impossible to ignore how prescient many of his predictions about modern society turned out. He was a violent individual, rightfully imprisoned, who maimed innocent people. While these actions tend to be characterized as those of a crazy Luddite, however, they are more accurately seen as those of an extreme political revolutionary. Mangione then noted his apparent agreement with violence as a means of enforcing change. When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. You may not like his methods, but to see things from his perspective, it's not terrorism, it's war and revolution. Peaceful protest is outright ignored. Economic protest isn't possible in the current system. So, how long until we recognize that violence against those who lead us to such destruction is justified as self defense? These companies don't care about you or your kids or your grandkids. They have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck. So, why should we have any qualms about burning them down to survive? Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. This guy is seeing this killing of this CEO of United Healthcare as self defense against the system, basically, right? Um, any industry that's set up, whether it's healthcare, whether it's healthcare insurance or otherwise, is designed to make a profit. Certainly, many of the decisions that they make on a regular basis about claims that are filed absolutely are keeping in alignment with turning a profit. Okay, that's what every business in America is designed to do. What's the point in working if you're not turning a profit? Everything is turning a profit. Now, I'm not saying at all that there's not some issues with the healthcare system or our insurance systems. I mean, I bet you could ask 100 people on the street, and all 100 of them have had some sort of less than satisfactory experience with an insurance company, whether a claim got denied that they thought should have been accepted, or whether they didn't get as much money as they thought they should have, when they totaled their car or just whatever it is. These insurance companies are designed to turn a profit. And that is absolutely true. And when you're talking about healthcare and insurance, unfortunately, the fact that healthcare insurance companies are designed to turn a profit runs directly parallel with whether people are getting certain insurance needs met, whether certain claims are either accepted or denied. Okay? When I look at this, it becomes very clear to me that this is a case of domestic terrorism. Ted Kaczynski was a domestic terrorist because he killed 3 people and injured and maimed like 24 people. I mean, he set off I think like 27 bombs between the years of 1978 and 1995. And it took forever for them to figure out who this guy was and what he was doing. But this individual had a ghost gun created by a 3D printer. Now, I used to work at a place that crafted and fabricated metal, and I shared an office with a process engineer, and there was actually a 3D printer in that office. It literally sat behind me for the whole time that I worked there. You can make things like weapons with one of these 3D printers, okay? Now, it's illegal. Why is it illegal? Because it is not made, then sold through the proper channel. So the government doesn't have their hand in a gun that comes from a 3D printer. There's no serial number. There's no way to track back to that weapon or identify that weapon in the event that something like what happened with the CEO takes place. Okay. Now, it's unclear at this point as to whether Mangione himself was the one that actually created the gun in the 3D printer or whether he has someone else do it for him. I will say, whoever did that is, and I'm sure you can lip read what I meant right there. This was an act of domestic terrorism. This was an act of anti capitalism. This guy had some grandiose ideas about capitalist America and how all of these companies are set up to turn a profit. The policies are set up to help the company grow and to profitize. These insurance companies prioritize making a profit over the well being or the welfare of the insured, the people they are insuring. That is the mindset that he began to develop and he had such a disdain for. Okay. And when a person develops that sort of disdain for capitalism as a whole, that's our whole economy is capitalism. Okay. So if you develop this sort of disdain for capitalism, you're developing a disdain for America because America's economy is what? A capitalist economy designed to make a profit. And yes, at times that profit does get prioritized over the well being of those people who are receiving the services that that company offers. The ghost gun, the fact that one of his favorite books was the Unabomber Manifesto. There is no doubt in my mind that if this guy hadn't have got caught this time, he'd have done this again. He would have absolutely done this again, and the manhunt would have just continued, and this would have been a just trail of destruction and disaster that this young man would have left throughout the country. And so I'm very thankful that they did find him. Apparently, his family is very, very wealthy in the real estate business in Maryland, where he's from. Very, very shocking outcome who this individual was. But anyway, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like this sort of content, subscribe to it, like the video, comment down below if you would. Let me know what you guys think about this or anything else that you might have heard. And I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.